Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get you straight to the heart of the insights.
Great to be here.
Today, we're tackling something, well, pretty complex and definitely causing a stir in Punjab, India. It's the land pooling policy.
Yes, it's a really significant topic. Huge debate around it.
Absolutely. It hits on so many things. Farmers' rights, how cities grow, even the ecological future of the state. It's big.
It really is.
And just so you know, our information today is largely drawn from Dr. Sarbjit Singh's research. He actually got some deep insights from a boarding school classmate, Sardar Kuljinder Singh Sahoda.
Ah, right. Who's directly affected by this in Hoshiarpur, I believe.
Exactly. So that gives us a really personal boots-on-the-ground perspective, which is invaluable.
And definitely as weight.
So our mission today, we want to unpack how this land pooling thing works, what it promises, the real risks involved, and what it all means in the bigger picture.
Basically, give you a solid handle on a critical issue without you having to wade through everything yourself.
Precisely. A shortcut to getting informed. Okay, let's unpack this. Land pooling. What is it, fundamentally? It's pitched as a voluntary way to turn farmland into planned urban areas.
That's the core idea, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Voluntary. It's quite different from the old way, the traditional land acquisition where the government might just compulsorily buy land.
Right, often leading to disputes over price and fairness.
Exactly. So land pooling works in steps. First, you need landowners, multiple landowners with adjacent plots to agree. They consent to pool their land together.
Okay, so they contribute to a sort of central pot.
Pretty much. A pooled land bank, usually managed by a development authority like Pude or Galalade in Punjab's case.
Got it. Then what?
Then the authority takes over the planning and development. They design the layout, put in roads, drainage, parks, schools, utilities, all the infrastructure needed for an urban zone. Commercial hubs, too.
So they build everything out.
Right. And here's the key difference. Afterwards, the original landowners don't just walk away with cash. They get a portion of their land back.
But it's developed land now.
Exactly. Developed plots. Maybe residential, maybe commercial, or a mix. The crucial bit here is the value appreciation.
Because urban land is worth more than farmland. Much more.
Significantly more. So the idea is that these return plots, whether the farmers sell them, rent them out, or keep them, offer potentially much greater financial returns over time compared to a one-off payment for the raw farmland.
So on the surface, it sounds like a clever model, maybe even a win-win. Farmers become partners, not just sellers.
That's the promise, yes. They're meant to share in the upside of development. Instead of just one payment, they hold on to these developed assets.
Which could mean multiple income streams down the line, selling, renting.
Or holding it as a legacy asset, yeah. And beyond the individual farmer, the promise is also about better urban planning.
How so?
Well, because you're dealing with a large, consolidated area, you can implement a proper master plan. Think grid layouts, green spaces, community facilities, all planned holistically from the start.
Instead of the usual messy, haphazard sprawl you see on city edges.
Precisely. It avoids that piecemeal, uncontrolled growth. And for the government, there's another perceived plus.
Which is?
Less upfront cost.
Yeah.
They don't need a huge pile of cash immediately to buy all the land.
Okay. So the development costs, how are they covered?
The authority usually keeps a portion of the developed land itself, which it can then sell or lease on the open market to recoup its infrastructure investment. It's kind of self-financing, in theory.
And this whole thing is supposed to be flexible, voluntary, you said. Is there room for negotiation, especially for smaller farmers?
Theoretically, yes. The model allows for things like maybe giving smallholders a slightly larger percentage of developed land back, or perhaps offering annual payments, stipends, during the long development phase when they can't farm.
So tailored agreements are possible. It sounds quite equitable on paper.
It does sound good on paper, aiming for collaboration, but this is precisely where the theory hits the reality on the ground.
Right. This is where the friction starts, the pitfalls, the farmer concerns. And this is where it gets really interesting, doesn't it? Because despite those potential upsides, the pushback is intense. What's the biggest single worry you hear from farmers in Punjab?
I think fundamentally it often boils down to a profound sense of loss. Loss of livelihood, yes, but also loss of identity.
Can you expand on that? Identity?
For so many farmers in Punjab, land isn't just, an economic asset on a balance sheet. It's ancestral heritage. It's who they are. Their families might have worked that same soil for generations.
So giving that up, even for a potentially valuable developed plot later.
It's deeply unsettling. It feels like converting their identity, their security, into a paper plot with uncertain future value and delayed returns. It destabilizes everything for them.
And this fear isn't just abstract, is it? It's linked to past experiences.
Absolutely. There's a massive trust deficit. You have to understand. For land pooling to work, especially in Punjab, trust isn't just important, it's everything. It's the Achilles heel.
Why such deep skepticism?
Generations have seen land policies, acquisition drives. Well, go wrong. Promises broken, delays, unfair compensation. So any new policy, even one labeled voluntary, is immediately viewed with suspicion.
Like they're thinking, here we go again.
Pretty much. They've seen projects elsewhere in India get bogged down. Opaque valuations, timelines stretching for years, sometimes development stalling completely, leaving landowners stuck.
Landlocked, you called it earlier.
Yes, stuck without their original land and without the promised developed plot or its value. So there's real skepticism about the specifics. Will the return plot be a good size? Will it be in a decent location? Will anyone actually want to buy or rent it?
And there are legal concerns too, aren't there, about how this fits with existing land acquisition laws.
That's a major point of contention. Critics argue this land pooling model seems to, let's say, sidestep key protections in the LAR Act of 2013.
The Right to Fair Compensation and Transparency Act.
That's the one. Important things like mandatory social impact assessments, getting environmental clearances, providing proper rehabilitation and resettlement packages. These seem to be potentially bypassed.
Which would be a serious...
Very serious. And the lack of clear, standardized grievance mechanisms or independent bodies to oversee the process just adds to the fear that local power dynamics or corruption could skew things against the farmers.
So we have the trust issue, the legal questions, but who gets hit hardest by this? Does it affect everyone equally?
No, definitely not. And this is critical. The model tends to disproportionately disadvantage small and marginal farmers.
How so?
Well, think about it. A large landowner might have other income sources, some savings. They can perhaps afford to wait years for the development to finish and the plots to gain value.
But a small farmer...
A small farmer often relies entirely on that yearly crop income. They don't have the financial buffer to just stop farming for 5-10 years, however long it takes. They need income now.
That makes sense. And what about people who don't own land but work on it?
That's an incredibly important, often overlooked group. Landless agricultural laborers, sharecroppers, tenant farmers. They usually have no formal stake in these pooling agreements. They're not landowners.
So they get nothing.
Typically, yes. But when the land use changes from agriculture to urban development, their livelihoods disappear overnight. They bear the immediate economic shock, often with no compensation or alternative provided.
Wow. That's a huge social impact.
It really is. And it raises this bigger, almost philosophical question.
Which is?
Do we actually need this scale of urban development right now in Punjab? We're talking about potentially vast areas of fertile agricultural land being converted.
Punjab being the breadbasket of India.
Exactly. It plays a massive role in national food security. Converting prime farmland on this scale, well, it has serious implications for food production, not just for Punjab, but for the whole country.
And there are the environmental costs, too, right? Punjab's already facing ecological challenges.
Huge challenges. Groundwater depletion is critical. Soil salinity is rising. Pollution from fertilizers and pesticides is widespread.
So paving over more farmland with concrete and buildings...
You could make all those problems worse. More runoff, less water recharge, loss of biodiversity. It creates a whole new set of long-term environmental headaches.
Which leads to the idea of maybe quality over quantity.
Precisely. Instead of these huge, sprawling greenfield townships eating up farmland, couldn't we focus on improving what we already have?
Like boosting existing towns.
Yeah, strengthening the district towns. Targeted investments in better waste management, water recycling, maybe promoting local manufacturing, or fostering things like agro-industries, rural startups, small-scale tourism.
Things that create jobs and economic value without needing massive land conversion.
Exactly. Leverage the strengths Punjab already has, its people, its agricultural base, its culture in a more sustainable way.
There's also this nagging question about, well, speculation.
Yes. The scale being proposed over 60,000 acres mentioned in some contexts is vast.
It does make you wonder if this is really about housing demand or if it's more driven by real estate interests hoping for a big payoff.
It's a valid concern. Is speculative investment potentially driving the policy more than genuine need? It really underscores the need for solid data-based analysis of actual demand.
And maybe things like regular policy reviews, caps on how much land developers can hold.
Absolutely. Measures to guard against creating speculative bubbles are crucial if you're going down this path.
So with all these concerns, the trust deficit, the impact on small farmers, the environmental questions, what's happening on the ground, are farmers just accepting this?
Oh, absolutely not. There's widespread mobilization. Protests are happening all across Punjab.
Really? Where are we seeing this?
Pretty much everywhere development authorities are active. In Ludhiana, for instance, farmers have set up a 247 Dharna that's a continuous sit-in protest right outside the Galada office, plus tractor rallies in nearby villages.
Tractor rallies. That's a powerful symbol in Punjab.
Hugely symbolic. We've seen tractor marches in Amritsar near Rajasthansi, a big tractor rally in Jalandhar. In Hoshiarpur, places like Port Hiran have seen villagers putting up protest boards, even leading to confrontations with police sometimes.
Wow. Any other areas?
Oh yes. Bathinda, Mansa, reports of highway rallies, posters warning officials not to enter villages, and similar actions, tractor rallies, village protests across Mohali, Patiala, Sangrur, Firozapur, Mogarga. It's really statewide.
And what forms are these protests taking? It sounds quite diverse.
It is. You've got the traditional methods, the tractor rallies, the dharnas, but also some quite creative and modern tactics too.
Like what?
Like those protest boards you mentioned, some bluntly say no AAP leader allowed until the policy's withdrawn. Effigy burnings of the chief minister and other ruling party leaders have happened, a very visible form of anger.
Strong statements.
Definitely. They're also organizing Mahapanchayats, large community gatherings, and planning things like motorcycle marches to ramp up the pressure. We've even seen local leaders from the ruling AAP party resign in protest and join the Dharnas.
That's significant. Local leaders turning against their own party's policy.
It shows the depth of feeling. And crucially, villages are using formal channels too, passing resolutions in the Gram Sabha, the village council, to officially reject the land pooling policy.
Using local democracy to fight back.
Exactly. And all of this is being amplified, through social media. WhatsApp groups are buzzing, sharing videos, slogans like Zamin Bachao, Punjab Bachao, Save Land, Save Punjab.
It sounds like it's really gaining momentum. Are people drawing parallels to other movements?
Yes, many farmers are explicitly comparing it to the big farm law protests of 2020-21. There's a sense that this is another major battle for their land and livelihood. And the resistance could definitely intensify if the government doesn't engage meaningfully.
So pulling this all together, Dr. Sarbjit Singh's take, as you mentioned, from the source material.
His perspective is nuanced. He sees that, on paper, land pooling looks like a step forward. It tries to move away from coercion towards collaboration. It tries to let farmers share in development profits.
Tries being the operative word.
Well, yes. Because, as we've discussed extensively, trust is the absolute bedrock. And right now, that trust just isn't there for a large segment of the farming community.
And without that trust, without clear safeguards,
then the whole thing risks failing. It risks becoming, as you put it, just another broken promise in a long line of them. Success hinges on enforceable legal protections, transparent timelines, independent monitoring, and real, genuine engagement.
Especially with those most at risk. The smallholders, the landless laborers, they need to be part of the conversation, not just an afterthought.
Absolutely. If they feel squeezed out or ignored, the resistance will only harden.
Does the source material suggest any concrete ways forward? How could this be done better, if at all?
It does offer some potential paths. Things like establishing independent tribunals specifically for land pooling disputes, ensuring quick and fair resolution.
Okay, well.
Mandating proper social and environmental impact audits, not just once, but at key stages throughout the project. And, critically, designing contracts that are truly inclusive.
Meaning they explicitly include benefits
for the landless workers, for tenant farmers, finding ways to ensure they aren't left behind when the land use changes. That's vital for fairness.
And maybe starting smaller.
Yes, that's another key suggestion. Pilot projects. Test the model on a smaller scale, perhaps in semi-urban areas first. Be transparent about the process and outcomes. Learn the lessons before trying to implement these massive statewide schemes.
Build confidence gradually, perhaps.
Exactly. Build that trust that's currently missing. It's a slower approach, but potentially a much more sustainable and equitable one.
It leaves us with a big question to ponder, doesn't it? For you, listening. How does any region, agricultural or otherwise, strike that difficult balance?
Yeah, the balance between pushing forward with ambitious development plans, which most places want, and doing it accountably.
Honoring the place's history, its heritage, and making absolutely sure that the people who built this foundation aren't sacrificed for future growth.
It's a fundamental challenge, and one Punjab is grappling with very publicly right now. Something to think about.